so it is. And so it is, and so it is. To Willie and Kimberly, Christopher, the musicians. Let's give the musicians.
Yeah.
And the volunteers and everybody who has participated to create the consciousness through which our speaker will speak through the minister here. I just stand in the place to be open and receptive to download and say what I'm listening to. And as I speak, I have to trust that the words that I'm speaking are not mine, but living by the great example, the great way shower, Jesus, who came to teach us how to say what you're listening to. So in the New Testament, there are recordings where he said, these words that I speak, they're not mine. I am just saying what I'm listening to. And I come to live as a great example to teach you how to do as I do. I'm going to speak from the topic, the two birds. So you were here last week, right?
Yes.
And you're coming to hear part two.
Yes.
How many of you brought your programs to see? Only 10. I told you there would be a penalty if you didn't. So give me my $100 then. And since not enough of you did bring them, you have a program. In your program, there's a pass out for the outline. I'll ask you to follow. Remember, we're doing a continuing series on the science of prayer. How to pray, as Jesus taught us to pray. Some people are able to discern it when you're reading the Bible because you were taught the right way how to read it and understand it. And we're just taking our time here to help you understand, to unlock the scriptures, to show you what we believe that Jesus was saying when he said in Mark 11:24, when you stand praying, when you pray, believe that you receive when you're praying and you shall have it. This is exactly and all that we're talking about here today, is how to do that, how to put your mind in that state, in that frame of mind. What we believe is that he was really teaching, and Quimby and Emily Couey, the French psychologists, pharmacists in the 1800s, and others unlocked these scriptures for us a long time ago. And we're just simply continuing to spread the word. So we haven't discovered anything new. We're just standing on their backs and shoulders and teaching you what they taught. And what they revealed to us is in their understanding of the scriptures is that when Jesus was teaching prayer, he was really teaching you how to self-apply it, prayer, the dynamics of prayer. And that when you're doing it, you're really placing yourself in a mild state of self-hypnosis. Self-hypnosis is simply putting yourself in that deep state of relaxation to where you lose your conscious mind, and it opens the door to the subconscious mind. And the words that you are speaking as you fall asleep, falling on that fertile soil, that infinite intelligence that receives the impression of your thought and acts upon it. And while you're asleep, something has happened. But continuing from that state of sleep, as you walk into your state of wakefulness, you have to learn how it is that mild state of self-hypnosis that you have put yourself under, you're remaining in it. And so we have offered you, and we're working with an affirmation every day in every way. I am getting better and better. Another way of saying it is every day in every respect, I am getting better and better. If you keep that in your mind, if you utter it, silently, if you just speak it, and if you just keep saying it over and over in your mind, it anchors you in that state of self-hypnosis. I said last week, is that Jesus walked around in that state 24/7. He was always under the influence. That's what self-hypnosis is. You're under the influence of something that has control of your mind. And your conscious mind, your natural mind, you've given it control to something else. And that's God, that higher mind. Is that what we talked about last week? Yes. That being a review, let's go into this week, part 2. Every day, come on.
Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better.
Once more. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. And let's say in every respect. Every day, in every respect, I am getting better and better. Once more.
Every day,
In every respect,
I am getting better
So
and better.
now let's look at your passage. And this is taken from a book entitled Freedom for All by Neville, chapter 6, where he talks about a formula for prayer, a formula for healing. And he's citing Leviticus chapter 14, verses 4 through 8. And you see, what we practice here and believe is that these Bible stories are simply psychological dramas of your own mind. These are stories that are, these healing examples and these stories in the Bible are carriers of truth. They are preservers of instructions for how to live a successful life, how to live a moral life, how to live a life that you can walk through life and all of the things, because your mind is creating all the time, and most of the times your mind is creating things that are to your unliking. And it teaches that everything that the mind has done and everything that the mind creates, mind can unmake, which means that everything that you have created in the form of sicknesses and problems, you can heal. Your mind can make you well. This story, and this Bible story, is an example. Neville saw in it a formula that we can use to cure what he calls leprosy. Leprosy in the day was a sickness or a condition that no man could heal, no medicine could heal, nobody could heal. And because of that, they would turn to the only, well, they would resort to, when all else fails, to the priest. When all else fails, pray. When all else fails, go to church, in other words. And so leprosy in that day was a condition such as that. But what we're teaching here, we're extrapolating that word leprosy to mean any condition, any problem, any so-called incurable, any so-called impossible, any so-called, well, give me some examples. Anybody?
Any so-called condition.
Yeah, any condition that are long-standing stuff, and things that your medicine doesn't heal, things that whatever you have to work with, long-standing stuff. Okay, I'll just say that you could go down a whole list of things, couldn't you? Oh, I didn't. So as I talk, I need you to bring it up. Things that have been hanging on for a long time. This is the day that you leave here with a formula that you can apply to it. So let's look at your passage. He says here, this formula is a problem that can heal any problem in man's world, physical, mental, financial, social, moral, or anything. Is that right? It matters not about the nature of the disease or the problem or its duration, for the formula can be successfully applied to any and all of them. Here's the formula. And so what he is doing here is quoting just a couple of scriptures from Leviticus. I'm going to read it all, and then we're going to go through and break it down. Then shall the priest command to take 2 take for him, that's the person with the long-standing problem, 2 birds, alive and clean. And the priest shall command that one of the birds, what? Be killed. So what we're going to do here is learn how to kill one of the birds. As for the living bird, he shall take it and shall dip it in the blood of the bird that was killed. And he shall sprinkle upon the person with the problem 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall then let the living bird loose into the open field, and he shall be clean. So meditate on that. Sounds like you're in for some fun, huh? Go ahead, boy, Steve. He says here, a bird is a symbol of an idea. Every person who has a problem or who desires to express something other than that which he is now expressing can be said to have 2 birds. The first bird is what? Your present problem. So I need you to hold in mind now something that is bothering you, whatever his name or her name is. Some situations. No matter what it is, hold it in your mind. And that's the first bird. That's the problem that we are going to kill either here and now or teach you how you can kill it. But it must be killed. And the lesson here is that only you can kill it. The person praying for you does not do it. The person praying for you and with you can help you do it. But only you can do it. And until, everybody say until you do, the problem is still living. The problem can only exist because it is being sustained by you through your consciousness. And we're going to learn how to stop doing that, stop sustaining it. The first bird is your problem, regardless of its nature. That which you are conscious of being is the first bird. You're conscious of being that thing. You're conscious of being it. And that's where its life is. It's in your conscious, your awareness of being it. You're living it. It's not living you. Okay, the second bird. So we know what the first bird is. The second bird is what? Is the solution. It is the solution to that problem. No matter what the problem is, the second bird is the solution to that problem. All right. So the how this is done, that's in your pass out to take home and read it in case you forget. The instructions, the formula. The how this is to happen, the killing of the first bird and the healing of the problem. The how, or the manner of realizing the problem, is not to be considered. Only the problem and the solution are considered. So this point forward, in your guided, these are instructions that you are to use in your guided meditation tonight, and every night, and every morning if you have the time. But all through the day, you say what? Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Come on. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. You're killing the bird. Now, all you do is repeat that affirmation, which has helped, I don't know, untold thousands of people in the world. The how this is working is not your business. How? We don't consider how. No matter what the gravity is, no matter how long it's been there, no how much the thing costs, no matter how young you are, how old you are, no matter how much inexperience, no matter how uneducated, no matter how overeducated, no matter N-U-T-T-I-N. It really does not. You look at some people and say, how did he get there? How does she do this? Well, how did he get her? Well, you know, so I don't understand it. Well, the scripture says what? Lean not? Lean not unto your own understanding. How is out of your mind. Every problem, it says in your pass out, reveals what? It's on your pass out. Every problem reveals its own solution. The problem comes with its own answer. The problem comes with its own solution. Design, and the problem is the answer and the way out and the way through. But something is blocking it. Okay. Let's throw in some scriptures here now and then that supports what I'm saying as we continue with your read out. Do you recall what it says in John chapter 14, verses 13 and 14? And whatsoever ye shall ask what? And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in what my name, I will do it. This is what you're doing. When you say every day and every way I am getting better and better, as you fall asleep at night, as you walk through the day saying these affirmations, you're doing it in the name of Jesus, which means you're doing it in the nature of Jesus, which means that you're doing it in the way that he did it and then taught us to do it. In his nature, in his manner. So this is a method. This is a way. This is the name, the nature, how he did it. He did it in faith, believing that every word that he was, all the words that were coming out of his mouth would come to pass according to the design that was in the seed. So the problem is the seed. And within that problem, the seed, there's a design for its answer, for its way through, if you believe it. Then Mark 9:23 says, Jesus said unto them, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. What that simply means in the terms, in the context of this prayer, praying scientifically, praying with understanding, is that that affirmation is a suggestion that you're giving to your, from the conscious to the subconscious mind, a suggestion. And as you do it, walking away in faith, believing, that suggestion is being transformed into oral suggestion. That's what the affirmation is. Your suggestion, your idea, your prayer desire, your need, your want, your long-standing situation is being transformed from suggestion, which is a prayer request, into auto-suggestion, which means the subconscious mind is receiving it and acting upon it, doing something on it. While you're sleeping, while you're walking, invading that state of self-hypnosis. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18 says, where there is no vision, what? Where there is no vision, the people perish. What we're doing here is teaching you through this lesson and this formula is to how to awaken something that is within you that's called imagination. Can't you sense and feel if you're using your imagination? You are using your imagination, which is the power of God in you as the Christ mind that is within you that Jesus used.
Amen.
Imagination. You're awakening your imagination, and in that, you are seeing through vision. You have to awaken your vision. You have to awaken your vision. What is vision but the eye of God seeing through your imagination what it is showing you? And that's how the solution through the problem is unfolding through itself. Oh, you got to think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's go back to your passage. What is the next line in your passage? What? Okay, so we don't want to overlook the fact that you bring the problem to the priest, and who is the priest? You are the priest. That simply means that you can self-heal. You can heal yourself. You don't need to go to somebody else. Now, somebody else that you go to, whether it's the doctor or somebody praying you for whatever, they can help you. But you have to realize, as we said last week, is that unless that suggestion is received by you, where two or more agree, unless you accept the help, then there is no result. Translating that into how you do this scientifically is that any prayer that you are praying, whatever you are saying, is that from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind, you have to convince the subconscious mind. And how do you do that? By your creative imagination. You have to convince yourself that you already have it, that it is already done, that you are already there, that you are already there, that you're already doing it. You have to smell it. You have to taste it. You know, what you couldn't do before, you got to start doing now. And what you couldn't do and didn't have before, you have to imagine that you're doing it, that you're having it, that you do have it now. So turning your attention away from the problem now, this is how we're killing the blood. We're killing the first blood. So turning your attention away from the problem, you extract the blood from the bird. That's your problem. Your consciousness is the one blood which makes all states living reality. So what is the blood that is being drained from the first bird, the problem? It's your consciousness. So think about people who you know who have problems and who has a problem. What do they always talk about? What do they always think about? What I don't have. My past. You don't know what I've been through. You know, when you don't ever walk in my shoes, I remember that time. I remember when you did this, I was abandoned, I was raped, I was robbed, I was black. Come on. I was fired, I was mistreated, I was abused. And so you can't keep your mind off of whatever it is that caused the problem. And now that you're experiencing the pain, the disappointment, the heartache, the grief, the loneliness, the whatever effect of the problem, you can't get it out of your mind. And it stays on your mind everywhere you go and everywhere you turn for 39 years, then it's 49 years, then it's 69 years, and that problem has stayed. That's the blood. That's the blood that has to be drained, and the only person who can drain that blood is you. That's your present perception. It is your perception that is, your blood is the perception. Until you change your perception, which means drain the blood from the first bird, then it lives with you forever, even into the last viewing. It lives. And now we think about your cousins. You're trying to help somebody that you cannot help. Don't we have that experience? We're trying to help somebody that you cannot help. The serenity prayer. God, come on. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. If they want to hold on to that first blood, there is nothing you can do. But more money, and, you know, coming back home again and again and again, and this and that, and put me on your plan, and you know, put some money on the books, and you want to add some more? They're holding on to that first blood, that first bird, and only they can kill it. And so your passage says, by removing your attention from any given state, you have drained the life blood from that state. You kill or eliminate the first bird, which is your problem. Now let's see what happens after you kill that blood, that first bird. What you have to do is, remember, let's give an analogy of arteries and veins. I'm not a doctor, I'm just making up something. But to me, it seems like the arteries and veins, involving your circulatory system, and the blood is going out and coming back, but then when it goes back to feed and keep alive the organs and keeping them happy, healthy, and everything, right?
Right.
So I see your attention like that. That's your attention. Now just imagine what happens if the brain stops receiving that blood circulation. It's called being brain dead, huh? Just imagine this circulation stop going to this leg. It's called, you need what? Amputation. That leg is dead. Your attention. Imagine you taking your attention away from that sickness. Imagine you taking your attention away from that problem. Imagine you taking your attention away from that itis and that ism and that whatever. From that abandonment, from that old abuse, from that being fired, from this somebody done me wrong. Imagine if you take your attention from that, it has to die. So when you are using the affirmation every day, when you're holding that problem in your mind and killing it every day, in every way, I am getting better and better every day. In every respect, I am getting better and better. Things are changing. I don't know. You're killing the bird. You're killing the bird. And so what we want to do is tell you that when you leave here, stop by the pharmacy, stop by Walmart, stop somewhere, and get an IV poke. Cook yourself up too. Because you want to walk around in this state of creative imagination. And you just want to sense that drip, 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 drip. Into your consciousness, into your awareness of becoming the thing that you desire to be. That takes your mind from what the problem is to the solution. And the solution reveals its own way. It makes a way out of no way. It does the impossible. It shows up unexpected. Things begin to happen in unexpected ways. You don't know how you end up where you end up. You don't know how the old pain is going. You don't know how you're doing what you couldn't do before. You don't know how you have to answer all these phone calls. Saying, no, I'll have to put you on my book. Have to fit you in. You don't know why people are just giving you stuff and opportunities are opening because you hooked up, you got an IV hooked up in this drip, 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 new ways, new answers, new things, unexplainable happenings in your life. Drip, 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 every day, in every way. I am getting better. All right? You kill that blood. Your past out says now into this blood. Catch up with me. Look at that. You see that? Into this blood. That's very important. What blood? Now that you killed the problem. Now that you killed the first blood. You're in a new state of mind. Now into this blood. That has nothing to do with the blood of the old bird. I had a problem unlocking this when I was reading this prepared for my Tuesday workshop a few weeks ago. When it says this blood, my literal understanding, when I first read it, I kept questioning, why are you going to dip the living bird into the old blood? No, that's reading from literal. But when you read the spiritual understanding, you understand that represents a new state of consciousness. That's new blood now. The blood of the old, there's no life in the blood of the old bird. You see that? That's the solution. You're standing in the answer. That is what we mean by, it never happens that when I speak, it doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday workshop here or anywhere else, that after the talk, and this is not to, what I'm saying is, somebody always asks, well, why do you say every day I am getting better and better? Why don't you say I am? Isn't it I am? And I'm saying, oh, well, I never talk and not explain it in the talk. It's just that you didn't hear it. So this is it right here. I just explained it. The old bird is dead. So you're in the I am. It's already done. If the old blood is dead, the new bird is living, and that is your I am right now, right here. Well, why do you have to say it? It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with the principle. This is for you and your head. To catch up with what is already, to go there where it's already done. You got to go there where it's already done. You got to raise up to the level of the answer. That's why this is for your human mind, nothing for that unconscious mind. So for your human mind, for your sense consciousness, you say every day in every way, I am getting better and better. I am moving into that which is already done. Got it? Got it. Into this blood, you dip the live bird, which is the solution. Now how do you do that? Feeling is the secret. In your feeling. In your feeling. You are blind to your problem, which is the first bird. For you have removed your attention from it, and therefore you no longer see it. So since it's gone, shut up. Just shut up. Reverend Mom, can I talk about what? Can I make an appointment for? Can I see you for what? I'm not wasting my time, and your money is that important. I'll give you the money to not listen to it. You hear that? I have nothing else to say. I have nothing else to give. It's take it or leave it. Do it. Stop complaining. Stop worrying. Stop whining. You know? I don't do it, so why do I want to listen to yours? Your attention or blood is now placed upon the second bird now from going forward, which is your subjective state of mind. That's where your feeling is. Feeling is the secret. Now, 7 times. Sprinkle the one to be cleansed. Sprinkle that problem. Having a problem with the child, having a problem with an ex, having a problem with this, having a problem with that, sprinkle the blood. Every day and every way. Walk away. Every day and every way. I am getting better and better. That's what you're doing with that affirmation. You're sprinkling the blood. You're sprinkling the blood. This means you must dwell within the new conception of yourself until you mentally enter the 7th day. The 7th day is symbolic. For as long as you have to do it until you feel this state, it's done. It is finished. At the 7th sprinkle, you're instructed to loose the living bird and pronounce the man clean. Loose it and pronounce yourself well. Well, what you have to realize is that sometimes things appear to get worse before they get better. What you don't want in many instances is that comes along with your answered prayer. Sometimes your answered prayer does not show up the way you were expecting it. You want all to be smiles. You want all to be $1 million. You want all to be... The problem has its own solution. The problem with its own solution might move somebody out of the way. And you holding on. No. Problem, the answer does not always show up the way you want it now. You don't want it, don't ask for it. You might shed some tears before it comes to pass. You just don't know how the answer is. But when it comes, fall back on James chapter 1, verses 2, 3, and 4. It says, consider it all joy. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials and of many kinds, whenever stuff starts happening. Because you know that the testing, this is the testing of your faith. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything in this healing. Healing comes to make you grow. It stretches you into it. And it works through relationships. It works through stuff. It works through your money. It works through this investment. It works through stuff. But you want it without working through stuff. And working through stuff does not always appear the way you thought it was going to. Okay? As you fully impress upon yourself the fact that you are that which you desire to be, you symbolically sprinkle yourself 7 times, then you are as free as the bird that is loose. And like the bird in flight, which must what? In a little while. I'm going to reread that a couple times. I like to have fun with this, which is going to the close, wrapping it up, crossing the finishing line. And like the bird in flight, which must in a little while return to the earth, so must your subjective impressions or claim in a little while embody itself in your world. All right. And like the bird in flight, that's your prayer request. That's your desire. That's your healing of the sickness need. You have to be in that state of, it is done. It is finished.
Yes.
I believe in prayer. Release it and let it go with no worry and concern of how. That's that bird in flight. And it says, in a little while, it returns to the earth. The earth is you, your body, consciousness. So must your subjective impressions or claim in a little while. That's your affirmations, stating it and affirming it in the now. So must that statement, those affirmations, in a little while embody itself. See, the solution reveals its own problem. It covers itself. It garments itself in your world. Well, I said that we come to practice the example that Jesus taught and used. What did he say in John chapter 14? He said, in a little while, you will see me no more. Remember that? In a little while, I will go. And I will come again and receive you unto myself. And where I am, there you may be also. Anybody not familiar with that? He was talking about his imagination. In a little while, he said, this is how I practice. Imagination. Imagination is Christ in you. In a little while, you release it to that subconscious mind, to that Christ mind that is within you. It takes it. When he says I, he's talking about the imagination that was in him. Christ that was in Jesus, not Jesus. Christ was not Jesus' last name. Jesus the Christ, not Jesus Johnson. Christ in him. Imagination goes before you when you kill the first bird, when it's first delivered, and it goes somewhere. And in a little while, it's working in the heavens of your mind as you sleep. And then it comes again and when it's done some work, when you start doing what you need to do. When you do your part of relieving and doing your affirmations and letting go of worry and stop doubting and stop being in fear and stop, needing somebody. You don't need anybody else. Because you and God. Then it receives you, it clothes you in its own garment of itself. And you show up as he is, as it is. The health, the manifestation, the money, the whatever, the healing, and whatever it is in your life. Then it says the problem, your present concept of yourself is the bird that is killed. The solution of the problem, what you desire to be, is the living bird that is free. Turn your attention away from your problem and place it upon that which you desire to express. Living in this fixed attitude of mind, living in the consciousness that you are now, that which you formerly desired to be, is the bird in flight. Unconstrained, unlimited, unrestricted by the limitations of the past, and moving forward into the embodiment of your desire. Let's say it every day. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Again. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Let's stand. In every respect, softly. Every day, in every respect, I am getting better and better. You say it slower. Every day, in every respect, am getting better and better. And let's be still. Let's breathe in. And hold that breath. Exhale through your lips, slightly parted. And then inhale through your nostrils. Hold that breath. And exhale slowly through your lips, slightly parted. Be still. Let's continue to breathe in deep through your nostrils. And hold that breath. And exhale slowly through your lips, slightly parted. Inhale. And as you exhale, think about the problem, the concern, the situation, the impossible, the incurable, the lone standing stuff which is nothing. Inhale that problem. Hold that breath. Know that it is healed, and exhale slowly through your lips, slightly parted. And as you inhale, know that you're sprinkling the problem with the blood. Hold it. And every time you exhale, you know that the problem is finding its way out of your consciousness. Know that it knows that it can no longer live on your attention. Inhale that problem. Bring it back. Sprinkle it with the blood of truth of your imagination, and exhale. And each time you exhale, you know that you're letting it go, and it can no longer thrive and survive on your attention. It must die. Inhale. Hold that breath. Let it be healed. Now loose the bird, which is the solution. Exhale. And in your imagination, however you see it, you see that bird taking flight, going into the field. And now that it's gone, you let it go, which is your imagination. Christ in you, the hope of glory. It is the solution that goes before you to prepare a way now, and it will come again and receive you unto itself. Complete, whole, healed. Now you hold on to the idea that you let the living bird go free. And now as you fall asleep at night, you fall asleep sprinkling the blood, saying until you fall into that state of unconsciousness every day, in every respect, I am getting better and better. Now you don't know how this thing is coming to pass. I have ways that you know not. My ways beyond finding out. You continue to use that affirmation every day, in every way. I am getting better and better. Until the bird returns in a little while and receives you unto itself. Affirming that it is done, we say together, every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. And once more, every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. And so it is.